I exited the back bathroom and saw him. The stranger sat at the previously empty bar. His head was lowered, hiding his face. He wore a military jacket and hood. He had wool gloves, and he was soaked from the sleet outside. "Can I help you?" I was wary of this man. We were a dive bar, but typically, that only attracts young rich kids, looking to drink in a dank, smelly basement. We don't get legitimately scary customers in here much anymore. I thought I had locked the door, but I assumed I had forgotten. I made my way from behind the bar, trying to get a better view of the man's bearded face. "Whiskey," he muttered out, almost like he hadn't heard me offer help. When a customer asks for a vague drink, like whiskey or gin, I tend to upcharge the brand, but the poor bastard was clearly wanting the cheaper option. I poured a shot of brown fire water, and the man drank swiftly. It was now I got a full look at his face in the dim lighting. He was a pale, red-bearded man. He resembled a homeless lumberjack. He was large, and looked as though he worked with his hands his entire life. He's the kind of character that will either get blitzed and leave without a word, or get blitzed and shoot up the place. His eyes met mine, and they were bloodshot and had deep, black circles underneath. He stood and dropped a 20 in the bar. "Keep the change," he muttered. With his back turned, I noticed how truly massive this individual was. He stood easily over 6 foot tall, and was broad, not fat, but just a wall of a man. He wandered out the door, into the blasting sleet, and the door closes behind him. I ran, swiftly locking the door. I still don't know why I felt such unease with the individual at the time, but I soon learned why my feelings were well placed. It was a Tuesday, so the bar closed around 2 a.m. I was back at my apartment by 3, and planning to sleep in, when my phone rang. It was the owner. He told me to expect a visit from the police, and that they had questions. Shit. The last thing I enjoy are city cops. It is a constant as a bartender that the police are nearby and harassing patrons. But when they need to see me, it is always bad news. And they arrived around 6 a.m., no sun yet, and the sleet was still hammering the city. I buzzed them up and invited them inside. "Sir, did you have contact with this man?" And they asked, showing a picture of the bearded man from earlier in the evening. "Yes, why?" "We found his body in an alleyway outside your bar. With the sleet, we can't exactly pin a time of death, but we imagine it was around midnight." It was here I stopped listening. I stopped paying attention, because it was now I knew that I had locked the main door before he entered the bar. I did not, however, lock the storage room in between the bar and the alley. It was now that I knew the man had been dead long before I locked the door behind him. The cop was still talking while I felt the $20 bill in my pocket. "Sir." My head snapped to attention and met the officer's gaze. "Sorry," I trailed. "We're investigating the strong possibility that this is a homicide. Can you tell us if anything unusual happened during this man's visit?" "No," I answered honestly. Clearly I couldn't tell them I served whiskey to an angry ghost. Clearly they wouldn't believe I knew why he was killed. Obviously they wouldn't be understanding to the fact that those rich kids like to beat homeless men to death, and that I've been looking the other way for years. Just sad this poor bastard actually had a dime to his name when he died.